Hi everyone, so we'll be discussing all past XAT questions starting with XAT 2025 and I'm primarily focusing on the quant section right now. We'll solve all the quant questions. If you guys want the solutions for the DI and the LR sections as well, please let me know in the comments. I'll definitely make it up for you guys. Alright, this is your very first question. I want you all to pause the video and give this one a try and resume for the solution. All right, so let's see. The market value of beams made of a rare metal has a unique property. The market value of any such beam is proportional to the square of its length. Due to an accident, one such beam got broken into two pieces, having lengths in the ratio 4:9. Considering each broken piece as a separate beam, how much gain or loss with respect to the market value of the original beam before the accident is incurred? Alright, so very easy question, a very typical question. The only numerical information we have in this question is the ratio of the two pieces, right? The ratio of the pieces formed is 4:9. So they're saying that the price of this metal, I mean the price of the beam formed, is proportional to square of the length. So notice that 4 and 9, the ratio is 4:9. 4 plus 9, the total is 13, right? So let's suppose that the beam has a length of 13x units, meters, centimeters, whatever. Let us suppose that the original beam is 13x units long. Okay, so original beam has a length of 13x. Now what we have been told is if the length of the beam is given, the price of the beam will be proportional to square of the length. So if the length is 13x, the price will be, suppose, a constant k times the square of 13x. So that's the original price of the beam, right? Now, the beam is broken into two parts having ratio 4:9. So the first part has a length of 4x naturally, and second part has a length 9x, right? 4 by 13th of 13 is 4 only, and 9 by 13th of 13 will be 9. So basically we are breaking 13 in the ratio 4:9. That is the whole purpose of assuming the length as 13, right? So the first beam has a length of 4x. The price is basically proportional to 4x square. And we have assumed this constant of proportionality as k. So the price becomes k times 4x square. And second beam similarly has a price that is proportional to 9x square. It is k times 9x square, right? So original beam has a price k into 13 square is 169, 169 kx square, right? Same way, the first beam, the first broken piece has a length of 4 square, 16 into kx square. And the second piece of the beam having 9x length will be k times 9x square or 81 kx square. Okay, now the question says what is the gain or loss with respect to the market value of the original beam? So now the total market value newly will be the price of the new pieces. So 16kx square plus 81kx square, the total becomes 97kx square. This is the new price of the beam. This is the new total price of the beams, right? So together the new beams cost 97kx square while the original price was 169kx square. You can obviously see that the price has reduced. So there is definitely loss being made, right? The original price of the unbroken beam was 169 into a constant and the new price is 97 times the same constant. The price is reduced. So options A and E are ruled out obviously. Now we just have to make a small calculation. 169 is basically becoming 97. What is this percentage change? So you can obviously see that the half of 169 will be 83. Okay, if 169 reduces by 83, the final value would have been again 86 approximately. But the final value is 97. So the reduction is not 50% to be precise. It is something less than 50%. So it's a loss of 50%, close to 50%, but less than that. Slightly less than 50%. It's your C option. It's a 42.6% loss. Okay, if you want, you can have a very precise calculation also. The final value 97kx square minus the initial value 169kx square upon the initial value 169kx square multiplied by 100, right? So this calculation tells you that the upper part will be 169 minus 97 will be 72 divided by 169 and kx square obviously gets cancelled. So 72 into 100 upon 169. You will anyway have to approximate this again as 170 and do the calculations. It will again turn out to be 17,468 and 17 twos are 34. So 42 point something. It's a loss of 42 point something. Precisely, it's your C option, 42.6%, right? So that's how we solve the entire thing. Now, when you actually solve the question in the exam, guys, you don't need to be that precise. I mean, you don't need to write so many steps here. What you can do is assume the length of the beam as, let's say, 13. Its price, you can directly take it as 13 square, which is 169. The question tells you that the price is proportional to square of the length, right? So the constant of proportionality will be same for every case. So it'll get cancelled out. As you can see, finally kx square anyway gets cancelled out. So makes no difference. The final pieces are having length 4 and 9. Their prices are 4 square plus 9 square. That will be 16 and 81, 97. So you can directly formulate this and get the answer very, very quickly. It's a reduction of, let's say, 72. 72 out of 169 is, as I've said, 40% approx. It's the C option. So when you actually solve the entire thing in the exam, it will not take you more than a few minutes, probably 1 minute or so to get the answer. It's a C option, 42.6%. All right, so this is your next question, and I wanted to just pause the video and try it once and resume for the solution. Okay, so Ramesh bought a mobile from a local store. He paid 1/6 of the price via UPI and 1/3 of the price via cash. He agreed to pay the balance amount a year later. While paying back the balance amount, Ramesh paid 10% interest on the balance amount. If the interest paid was rupees 6,000, then what was the original price of the mobile? Okay. So there are multiple ways to answer the question. One way is you can assume the original price of the mobile. Okay. This original price of the mobile as rupees X. So he paid 1/6 of the price via UPI. So 1/6 of this price is X by 6 or 1/6 of X. This payment was made by UPI. And 1/3 of the price. So we have to be very careful here. Generally, they give 1/3 of the remaining price, but here they mentioned 1/3 of the price. So 1/3 of X is X by 3. This price they have paid by cash. Okay. And he agreed to pay the balance amount. So the balance amount will be, the balance amount is X minus these two, right? So X minus X by 6 minus X by 3. Now X by 3 I can manipulate as 2X by 6. Same thing, right? Will help me in the calculations. So X minus X by 6 is 1X by 6 minus 2X by 6. You are actually subtracting X. From that you're subtracting 3X by 6. So this basically becomes X minus half of X or 3X upon 6 only. Okay, or this becomes X by 2, right? This is the balance amount remaining, X by 2. Okay. While paying back the balance amount, he paid 10% interest on the balance amount. 10% interest. So 10% of X by 2 will be 1/10 of X by 2, right? Or you can write 0.1 also, same thing. This interest paid was rupees 6,000. So 1/10 of X by 2 is rupees 6,000. From here I get the value of X required. So X required is 20. 20 into 6,000, 1,20,000. Right, so if you ask me personally, this is the most straightforward way out. There are many other ways though. So what you can also do here is you can probably use the options, right? So if you look at the first option, say 1,10,000. Okay, 1,10,000, 1/6 was paid by UPI and further 1/3 was paid by cash, right? So this basically becomes 3/6 or half. So half of 1,10,000 was paid by cash. The balance is the other half, that is 55,000. 10% on this is rupees 5,500, but this should be 6,000. So that's not the answer. Okay, this is 5,500, the interest, but the interest we want is rupees 6,000. So that's not the answer. The point is that you have to do it again and again. So if you look at the B option, okay, same thing I can do for second option as well. The second option says the original price was 1,50,000. Okay, 1/2 of that is paid using UPI and cash. So 1/2 of 1.5 lakhs is 75,000. The other half remaining is 75,000. 10% interest on this 75,000 is 7,500. That's not your answer, 6,000. So option B is also ruled out. If you take option C, 1/2 of 1.2 lakhs is paid. The remaining half is 60,000. 10% of this is what? 6,000. That's exactly what you want. So it's your C option is the answer. Okay, so that's one more way of getting the answer here. And in the third method, I'll be majorly using the fractions. So 1/6 was paid using UPI and 1/3 of that same number was paid by cash. So 1/6 and 1/3, as we have seen previously, it's 9 by 18 or this is 1 by 2 or 1/2, right? Half of the amount has been paid, half is balance. Okay, so the balance half has an interest rate of 10%. So 6,000 that you are paying as the interest is one third of one half, right? One third of one half of something is rupees 6,000. Okay, so that number is what? That number is 6,000 divided by 1 by 10 into 1 by 2. So 6,000 gets multiplied by 10 and 2, and thereby you get your answer as 1,20,000. So I think that's the fastest way out. If you use fractions, you say that UPI is 1/6 and cash is 1/3. Together they are one half of the payment. So the balance is 1 minus one half, that is one half only. The interest is 10% on that. So 1/10 of one half is 6,000. 1/10 of one half of something is 6,000. What is that something? 6,000 divided by 1/10 into 1 by 2. So it comes out to be 1,20,000, and that's clearly your C option again. So different ways to get the answer in. I hope you guys are pretty much clear about this particular question and the different concepts we have applied. The answer is option C. Hi, don't forget to check out my course for the quant section of the CAT exam, where I've explained all concepts, tips and tricks, shortcuts, and past year questions in great detail. Alright, so this is your next question and it's based on geometry, a pretty easy one. I'm sure most of you all will be able to crack this one. So please pause the video and try it, and you can resume for the solution. Alright, Addu and Amu have bought 2 pieces of land on the moon from an e-store. Wow, very contemporary. Anyway, so both the pieces of land have the same perimeters, but Addu's piece of land is in the shape of a square. So Addu is buying the land in the shape of a square. So it's going to be a square, something like this. Okay, I don't know how far I'll be able to make it precisely, but I'll try my best. Square is still possible, but the next part is again very difficult to draw. While Ammu's piece of land is in shape of a circle. So square to anyway we made it, but circle is again slightly difficult. I'll try my best again. Okay, that's the best I could do right now. So both the pieces have the same perimeters, but Addu's piece is a square and Ammu's piece is circle. The ratio of the areas of Addu's piece of land to Ammu's piece of land is, okay, very simple question. Let us suppose that the side of the square is S. So for the square, the perimeter will become 4 into S. We know that for any square, the perimeter is 4 times the side. So 4 into S, right? For the circle, I'll assume the radius as R. Okay. And for the circle, I know the perimeter is always the circumference, and circumference is always 2 into pi into R. The question says these two pieces have the same perimeters. So 4S is actually equal to 2 pi R. Okay. So from here, when I equate these two, I get S upon R is basically equal to 2 pi by 4. Just a small rearrangement. I took 4 here and R here. So I get S by R is 2 pi by 4. Cancelling out a 2, I basically get pi by 2. Now, I want the ratio of the areas of Addu's piece to the land of Ammu's piece. Addu's piece is a square, and the area of any square is what? S square. Similarly, Ammu's piece is a circle having radius R. The area will be pi R square. So I want this ratio, guys. I want S square upon pi R square. Now I can rewrite this ratio as 1 upon pi into S square upon R square, which I can rewrite as S by R the whole square, isn't it? So the ratio required is 1 by pi into S by R the whole square. But S by R, I know its value as pi by 2. So I put it here to get my final answer. 1 by pi into pi by 2 square. So this is pi by 2 ka square. Eventually it boils down to 1 by pi into pi square by 4. Okay, I just cancel out pi above and below. My final value will be pi by 4, and that is very clearly the B option, right? Okay, so that's how you solve this one. A pretty easy one. The answer is pi by 4, and that's how we do it. So this is your next question. I just wanted to pause the video and try it once, and you can resume for the solution. Alright, so a straight line L1 has the equation y is equal to k times x minus 1, where k is some real number, right? The straight line L1 intersects another straight line L2 at the point 5, 8. If L2 has a slope of 1, which of the following is definitely false? Okay, XAT typically asks these questions to make things slightly complicated, slightly lengthy. But if you know the logic behind the questions, I mean, if you know the concepts to solve the questions, you're good to go, right? So let's start. The first line L1 has the equation y is equal to k times x minus 1. K is a real number. The line L1 intersects another line L2. So if this is your L1, let's say this is your line L1 having the equation y is k into x minus 1. A second line L2 is something like this. Okay, we have a second line L2. They both intersect at a point of 5, 8. Now, if 5, 8 is the point of intersection, guys, 5, 8 will satisfy the equations of both the lines, right? So, if you substitute x as 5 and y as 8, it should satisfy the given equation. So, using this logic, we find the value of k. We'll say 8 is equal to k times 5 minus 1 is 4. So, k is equal to 8 by 4 or k is equal to 2. That means the line for the first equation L1 is basically y is equal to twice of x minus 1. Okay, you can also write this as y is equal to 2x minus 2. Okay, now let's look at the options that talk about line L1. Option D specifically talks about line L1, right? So option D says line L1 passes through the point 1, 0. Let's put x as 1 and y as 0. So you will get 0 is equal to twice of 1 minus 2. Twice of 1 is 2 only, minus 2. 2 minus 2 is 0. We get 0 is equal to 0 or LHS is equal to RHS. So the point 1, 0 satisfies this equation. Thereby the line L1 definitely passes through point 1, 0. And that is not my answer for sure. We are looking at the false option here, okay? Two of the other options talk about the distance of the origin to one of the lines. So let's calculate the distance of this line from the origin, okay? So the line is y is equal to 2x minus 2. Okay, we have a logic to find out the distance of any point from the line. Okay, any line having the equation ax plus by plus c is 0. Its distance from a point having coordinates x1, y1 can be found like this. Mod of a into, in place of x we'll put x1, plus b into, in place of y we put y1, plus c, the mod of this closed, divide by square root of a square plus b square, right? That's how we calculate the distance of any line from a given point. So the equation is 2x minus y minus 2 is 0. I've simply restated this. Okay, and now I can find its distance from the origin. The distance d will be, the origin has coordinates 0, 0. So in place of x I'll put 0. 2 into 0 minus, in place of y also I'll put a 0. So 0 minus 2. The mod of this, I want a positive value, divide by square root of a square plus b square. A here is the coefficient of x, that is 2 square, plus b here is minus 1, the coefficient of y, so minus 1 square. Okay, 2 into 0 is 0 minus 2 is minus 2 only. The numerator here is minus 2 and mod, it will become plus 2 finally. And divide by square root of 4 plus 1 will be 5. So 2 by root 5. The distance of this line from the origin is 2 by root 5. So option E is also true and hence ruled out. So the last thing I want you all to understand regarding this line is the intercepts. Okay, we only want the intercepts from here. The last thing from this, the equation is y is equal to 2x minus 2. If I put x is equal to 0, I will get y is equal to minus 2. So the y-intercept of this line is minus 2, right? And similarly, if I put y is equal to 0 in the equation, I will get x is equal to 1. So the x-intercept is basically 1. Now, what do these intercepts indicate? When I draw the graph of this line, right? When I draw the graph of this line along the x and y axis, the x-intercept is 1 and the y-intercept is minus 2. So the graph will be, the straight line graph will be something like this. Okay, x-intercept is 1 and y-intercept is minus 2, right? This point is basically 1, 0 and this point is 0, minus 2, right? Okay, so that's all the analysis about L1. Now let's look at the second line L2. So what do we know regarding the line L2? Line L2 passes through the point 5, 8 for sure and has a slope 1. So we can use the point slope form to find out the equation of line L2. Let us say x, y is any point on this line. The slope will be y minus 8 upon x minus 5 and that should be equal to 1. On simplifying, I get y is equal to x minus 5 plus 8, or I will get y is equal to x plus 3. Now from here you can rewrite this equation as x minus y plus 3 is 0 and use this formula of ours to find out its distance from the origin. The distance from the origin will be mod of, in place of x again I'll put 0, in place of y also I'll put 0, plus 3 divided by square root of a square plus b square. A here is the coefficient of x, that is 1, so 1 square, plus the coefficient of y here is minus 1, so minus 1 square, is equal to 0 minus 0 is 0, plus 3 is 3 only, divided by, below you will have root of 1 square plus minus 1 square, that's root of 1 plus 1 or root of 2, 3 upon root 2. So distance from the origin to one of the lines is 3 by root 2. This is also a true statement and hence option A is ruled out. The last thing I want to understand is about the intercepts of this line x minus y plus 3. In this, if I put x as 0, putting x as 0, I get y is equal to 3. So the y-intercept of this line is basically 3. And similarly, you can put x as minus 3 to get y as 0. So you get the x-intercept as minus 3. Okay, if you join these 2 points, the first point has coordinates minus 3, 0. The other one has coordinates 0, 3. When you join these two, you'll get a straight line. I'm showing it in red, something like this. Okay, so you can now observe the difference between their x-intercepts is minus 3 and 1. This is 4. So distance between the x-intercepts of the two lines is definitely 4. So B is also true and hence not our answer. Notice that the y-intercepts have a difference of minus 2 and 3. 3 and minus 2. So 3 units above and 2 units below. 3 above and 2 below. The total difference of the intercepts is basically 5. But the answer option says it should be 6 and this is the false one. Option C is the answer to our question. Which of the following is definitely false? Option C is definitely false. Right? So slightly lengthy question, but if you are good in coordinate geometry, you can figure out these things quickly and save a lot of time. Alright, so that's your next question. Please pause the video and try it once and you can resume for the solution. Alright, so there are 25 rooms in the hotel. Each room can accommodate at most 3 people. At most 3. You can't have more than 3. So any room can have like 0, 1, 2 or 3 people. For each room, the single occupancy charges rupees 2000 per day. Double occupancy charges rupees 3000 per day. And triple occupancy charges rupees 3500 per day. If there are 55 people staying in the hotel today, what is the maximum possible revenue from room occupancy charges today? Okay. Now there are 55 people staying in the hotel today and they're asking you what is the maximum possible revenue from room occupancy charges today. Alright. So guys, first of all, 55 people but only 25 rooms. Even if I allocate just one person to every room, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, I'll be able to allocate only 25 people, right? So out of 55 people, I have only put 25 people in the rooms. The remaining number of people are 30. Okay. Now wherever I put these 30 people, okay, wherever I put these 30 people, they will obviously cause double occupancy, right? So one thing is for sure, double occupancy is inevitable in the question. You should definitely have double occupancy, right? Now there are two ways of putting these 30 people, right? The first way is you basically give away 2 people each in 15 rooms. So 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, like this up to R15, you will have 2 people more. So R1 to R15, these 15 rooms have 3 people in total. And R16 onwards up to R25, 10 rooms have only 1 person each, right? So one way to distribute 55 people is 25 people initially in all the rooms, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. The extra 30 we distribute by giving away 2 people in every room. So 15 rooms will have 1 plus 2, 3 people, and R16 to R25, 10 rooms will have exactly 1 person. Now the total tariff in this case will be, or total revenue in this case will be 15 rooms having triple occupancy. The rate is 3500 for triple occupancy, plus 10 rooms having single occupancy. that is 2000 rupees per day. So 3500 into 15 is 15,575, 15,345 and 7, 52,500 plus 10 into 2 is 20,000, right? So this comes out to be 72,500. Now, no doubt it is there in the options, the B option. But that's not the only way to distribute these people, right? I'll just underline the B option saying that this is one possible answer. But then we have one more way of distributing these 30 people, and now we'll talk about that, right? The other way to distribute these 30 people is, once again, we allocate one person each in all the rooms, right? So we have allocated 25 more people, 25 people in the first round, 25 in the second round. 25 plus 25 is 50 people allocated. Now 5 people remain. In whichever room now you put these 5 people, that those rooms will have triple occupancy, right? So let me put them in R1, R2, R3, R4, R5. These 5 rooms will have triple occupancy now. But all the other rooms from R6 up to R25, all these 20 rooms have double occupancy, isn't it? So the revenue will be 5 times the triple occupancy, 5 times 3,500, that's 17,500, plus 20 times the double occupancy charge, that is 3,000 rupees. So 3,000 into 20 is 60,000. 60,000 plus 17,500 is 77,500. Bingo. That's the maximum revenue that you can get from this particular hostel. The answer is option C, 77,500. Hi guys, that's your next question from XAT25. Please pause the video and try it once and you can resume for the solution. Okay, so a farmer has a quadrilateral parcel of land with a perimeter of 700 feet. Two opposite angles of that parcel of land are right angles, while the remaining two are not. So I have a land, okay, in which there are two opposite angles which are right angles. So this is 90 degrees, right? And the other two sides are also something like this. Okay, we are forming a right angle, so maybe like this. And the other two sides, the other two angles are not right angles. So these two are not right angles as per the question. The farmer wants to do organic farming on that parcel of land. The cost of organic farming is 400 per square foot. Consider the following two additional pieces of information. So the person wants to do some farming, organic farming on this, and the cost of farming is rupees 400 per square foot. So I'm assuming that there'll be something with respect to the overall cost on this entire land. Well, we'll see. So the first statement says the length of one of the sides of that parcel of land is 110 feet, 110 feet. Okay. Next, the distance between the two corner points where the non-perpendicular sides of that parcel of land intersect is 265 feet. Now, to determine the amount of money that a farmer needs to spend on organic farming on the entire parcel of land, which of the above additional pieces of information are minimally sufficient? So, as I've said, they're asking you the amount of money the farmer needs to spend to do organic farming on the entire parcel of land, right? Now for that, we have been given the rate of organic farming, rupees 400 per square feet. So 400 multiplied by the area of this entire plot is the required amount or the required cost of farming on the entire parcel of land, right? So I need to find out basically the area of this land. That's the whole idea. For this entire land, okay, I need to find the area inside, okay, this entire area. Okay, so essentially it's a question based on DS or I would say data sufficiency, right? These are questions based on data sufficiency, right? In this, they are giving you some data, and based on whatever they have given, you have to understand the minimum information required to answer the question. So let's see what all we have been given. First of all, the perimeter of this entire land is 700 feet. So if I call the sides as A, B, C, D, we have been given A plus B plus C plus D as 700. Okay, now obviously this information alone is not sufficient to find out the entire area. So we have been given some supporting information also. Like the first statement says the length of one of that sides of the parcel of land is 110 feet. Okay, so A, B, C, D, exactly one of them will be 110 feet. So let's suppose I take A as 110 feet. If I put it here At best, I'll be able to get B plus C plus D as 700 minus 110 or 590. So at best, I can get some of the other three sides as 590, and it does not give me anything of use. So this statement alone is not sufficient to answer the question. We roll it out, right? Then the second statement says distance between the two corner points where the non-perpendicular sides intersect is 265 feet. Now, while analyzing this particular statement, we completely forget the first one for time being, right? Forget the condition that one of the sides is 110 and they have given you this distance here. Okay, this distance here is 265. So we can imagine two right angle triangles getting formed and we have been given the hypotenuse 265. But the point is I don't have any data about A, B, C or D, right? So if I have any of these now, probably if I get A, then using Pythagoras theorem, I can find out the value of B. Once I get A and B, I can substitute them here, A and B both, to get C plus D is 700 minus something. And then I can use Pythagoras theorem to say C square plus D square is 265. If A is given to me, I'll be able to figure out B, C and D eventually. But in the second statement, A is missing. So second statement alone is also insufficient to answer the question. Now, as per our analysis, along with this 265, I would need at least one other side. And that is given to me in the first statement, right? So I need to combine the second statement and the first statement to be able to answer this question correctly. And that's why my correct answer to the question is option E. 1 and 2 together are minimally sufficient. And that's my answer. Okay. We don't need to go too much in depth right now thinking about contemplating what could be possible, what is not possible. Once you've got the answer, we are through with. We are through with it. The answer is option E. Alright, please try this next question. You can pause the video and give it a try. Okay, so interesting one, and I think it's a slightly intuitive question rather than logical. So, in a computer game, each move requires pressing a button. When the button is pressed for the first time, as a move, the computer randomly chooses a cell from a 4 by 4 grid of 16 cells. So, this is your 4 by 4 grid of 16 cells. So, the computer basically selects any cell out of the 16 and puts an X mark. Okay. When the button is pressed subsequently after that, the computer randomly chooses a cell from the remaining unmarked cells and puts an X mark on that cell. This goes on till the end of the game. And what is the end they have mentioned further? The game ends when either all the cells in any row or all the cells in any column are marked with X, right? So if this entire thing gets marked with X, or if this entire row gets marked with X, any row, any column, if it gets marked completely with X, the game is over. Then the question is, what is the maximum possible number of times a player has to press the button to finish the game? Alright, so before we solve this question, what if the question was, find the minimum possible number of times the player has to press the button to finish the game. Minimum possible number of times, right? So to find the minimum possible number of times you have to press the button, we'll take the best case scenario. Every time you press the button, it is falling in the same row or same column. So suppose you press the button once, suppose they're putting X here. Suppose you press the button second time, they are putting X here. Third time X is coming out here and fourth time X is coming out here. This is the best case scenario, right? Whenever you press the button, the X is coming in the same row or the same column. So in that case, the minimum possible number of times you need to press the button will be 4, and they have 4 in the options to trick us. But we have to be very, very careful. They're asking you the maximum possible number of times in this question, not minimum, right? Had it been minimum, the answer would have been 4. So now coming to this question, when I had to find the minimum possible number of times, I took the best case scenario. So if I want to find the maximum possible number of times I have to press the button, I'll take the worst case scenario. Right, now how do you take the worst case scenario? You try to ensure that in no row or column there are exactly 4 crosses. So try to keep maximum 3 crosses in every row or column. The best way to do this will be to make sure that there are no 3 consecutive crosses in any row or column. So for example, if the first row I take 2 x's like this, now don't take the third x here, take the third x here. Okay. Same thing you can do in the second row also. If you take the first cross here, the second cross here, don't take the third one here. In fact, if you take the second cross here, the third cross you can basically keep it here. Okay. Same way in the third, you can take one x here, take the other 2 in these 2 places, right? And lastly, if you take the last row, put one x here, put the other two x's here, that ensures that no row or no column has exactly 4. You will see that every row and column is now incomplete, having exactly one cell blank. Right? There are many other ways to do this, but I have shown you one possibility. Now guys, you will notice that I have already consumed 12 moves. I have already made 12 moves. And now the 13th move, wherever I make, wherever I put the 13th cross, it will ensure that exactly or at least one row or column gets completed. So 12 plus 1, I will require 13 moves or 13 number of times to press the button to ensure that the game is finished. The answer is option C. Okay, so slightly intuitive. You just have to use sort of hit and trial to come across this conclusion that I have to have exactly 3 in any row or column and try to minimize the consecutive x's in any row or column. Alright, please try this next question and you can resume for the solution. Alright, now I believe this is one of the easiest questions of the lot. Arun selected an integer x between 2 and 40 both inclusive. He noticed that the greatest common divisor, HCF, highest common factor, of the selected integer x and any other integer between 2 and 40 both inclusive is 1. Right? Guys, whenever HCF of two numbers is 1, know that the two numbers are also called as co-prime numbers. So this x is kind of co-prime with all other numbers from 2 to 40 both inclusive. How many different choices for x are possible? Okay. Now guys, if x is co-prime with 2 to 40, all the numbers between 2 to 40 inclusive, then naturally x does not have any common factor with any of these, right? Now, what is the set of numbers which are not having any common factors with any other numbers? Prime numbers, right? So let's first talk about prime numbers between 2 and 40 inclusive. So if I write down 2, 3, 5, 7, 11, then 13, 17, 19, 23, 29, 31, 37. So these 12 prime numbers exist between 2 and 40. Now, if you don't analyze things properly, you will hurriedly mark the E option and get the answer wrong, right? So you have to think carefully. Look at the first few prime numbers. 2 is not co-prime. 2 is in fact common, or 2 is a common factor between many other numbers in 2 and 40, right? So 2 is not the required value of x. Same way, I can't have 3 because 3 is not co-prime with numbers from 2 to 40, all numbers from 2 to 40. 3 has common factors with many other numbers, 6, 9, 12, etc. Same for 5. 5 has common factors with many other numbers. This goes on up to 7, 11, 13, 17 and 19. 19 has common factor with 38, that is 19 itself. Same for 17, 13, 11 itself, right? Now, if you look at the other prime numbers 23, 29, 31 and 37, these four prime numbers don't have their multiples in between 2 and 40. So these numbers are prime and do not have any multiple in this range. So these four prime numbers are exactly what I want to find out. 23, 29, 31 and 37. These are four prime numbers which do not have any common factors with 2 and 40 between all numbers from 2 to 40 both inclusive. So the answer is option C, that is 4. Okay, very easy question, beautiful question. Just a little bit of analysis will give you the answer as 4, the C option. Hi, don't forget to check out my course for the quant section of the CAT exam, where I've explained all concepts, tips and tricks, shortcuts and past year questions in great detail. Alright guys, you can try this question and resume the video for the solution. Right, so we have 8 employees in an organization. Let's number them as A1, A2, A3, A4, A5, A6, A7 and A8. Okay, and now let's carefully observe all the conditions. It says the overall average rating of the 8 employees is 30. So if you observe carefully, the sum of all these scores should be 8 into 30, that is 240, right? Average is sum upon the number of terms. The sum will be average into number of terms, right? while the 5 employees with the highest ratings average 38. Let us suppose that we have arranged the ratings in the descending order. So the order is A1 to A8 from high to low, right? So the average of A1 to A5 will be 38. If the average of A1 to A5 is 38, then we can find out the total score of all these 5 people. 38 into 5, this will become 190. Okay. Same way, the average of the 5 employees with the lowest ratings is 25. So A4 to A8, the average is 25. And like that, I have 5 people. So the total will be 25 into 5, 125. Okay. Which of the following about the ratings obtained by the 8 employees is definitely false? Okay. This is a beautiful question because a lot of thinking involved. Let's see what all we have been given. So first of all, we know that A1 plus A2 plus A3 up to A8, this total is 240. Same way, we have also obtained that A1 plus A2 plus A3 plus A4 plus A5 is 190, right? Also, A4 plus A5 plus A6 plus A7 plus A8 is equal to 125. Now let's start by adding these two equations, guys. When I add these two equations, A1, A2, A3, A4, A5, A6, A7, A8 will come exactly once. So A1 plus A2 plus A3 plus A4 plus A5 up to A8 will come exactly once. Plus we have an extra A4 and A5, right? On the left hand side. And the right hand side is 190 and 225, 315. Okay. Now this value, this total I already know is 240. So from here I get 240 plus A4 plus A5 will be 315. Or I get A4 plus A5 is 315 minus 240, that is 75. This is the breakthrough we need in the question. The sum of A4 and A5 should be 75. If that is the case, A1 to A5 the sum was 190. From 190 if I remove 75, the sum of the remaining three numbers A1 and A2 and A3 should be 190 minus 75 or 115. Same way, A4 to A8 the sum is 125. From that if I remove 75, the sum of A6, A7 and A8 should be 125 minus 75 or 50. And now I think we can answer all the questions. And now let's look at the options. The first option says the second highest rating obtained is 38. We have to check whether this is correct. Now let's notice that A4 and A5 the sum is 75. So their average is 37.5. So one of these numbers is more than 37.5. Let's say 38 in this case. And the other number has to be less than 37.5. Let's check it as 37. You can also have 39 and 36 or 40 or 35, different ways out. But let's stick to this particular case here, 38 and 37, because the first option says the second highest rating obtained is 38, right? So I'm keeping A4 as 38. Can we try and put A2 and A3 as 38 each? Yes, we can. 38 and 38 will become 76. 115 minus 76, the value of A1 will be 41. So yes, A1 can be put as 41, and that is why A2 and A3 can be 38 each. So your second highest score can be 38. First option is possible, and hence it is not our answer. We want something that is definitely false, right? Something similar I can do with the second option as well. The lowest rating obtained is 1. Now we already know that A4 and A5 the sum is 75. In that A4 we are taking as 38 and A5 we are taking as 37. Okay, I want the lowest rating obtained to be 1. Let's check if that is possible. I want A6, A7 and A8 to be total to 50. If A8 becomes 1, the sum of A6 and A7 will be 50. So 50 minus 1, that is 49. In that case, you can allocate A6 as, let's say, 25 and A7 as A24. So in that case, the total is still maintained at 49 and the last term can be still 1. So option B is also possible and therefore not my answer. So we can also put A3 and A8 each as 38 and A1 will be basically 41. It's kind of the repetition of the first case only. The first highest rating is 41, second highest is 38 and third highest is 37. So yes, the third option is also possible, therefore not our answer. The D option is pretty obvious. The median of the 8 rating is 37.5. The median is simply the average of the middle terms. The middle terms here are A4 and A5. Their average you already found 37.5 and that's your median. So option D is also correct and thereby not my answer. The correct answer by elimination is option E. The highest rating obtained is 40. Yes, that's not possible, guys. Even if I consider the first case where A4 is 38, 38 is the minimum value A4 can take, right? So if I put A1 as 40, the sum of A2 and A3 should be 115 minus 40 or 75. Now there is no way out in which you can maintain the sum of A2 and A3 as 75 and ensure that both of them is more than 38. Well, if you take it as 38, the other is 37. But the third highest in this case is 38. So A3 has to be more than that, right? So that's not possible. And thereby the E option is not possible, right? Hence our answer. You can eliminate, you can avoid checking for B, C and D, guys. Once you have solved the A wala part, the A wala part talks about the second highest rating obtained. And from there you can directly jump to the E option and check the highest possible rating and say that it can't be 40. So you can avoid checking B, C and D. D will happen instinctively once you have seen the total of A4 and A5 as 75. It's obvious that the median is 37.5. But then you can avoid checking B and C to save time. Directly check the A and then the E1 to jump to the answer. It's the E option. The highest rating can't be 40. Alright guys, please try this next question and you can resume for the solution. Okay guys, a solid trophy consisting of two parts has been designed in the following manner. The bottom part is a frustum of a cone. So this is the frustum of a cone with a bottom radius of 30 and top radius of 20. So this radius is 30 and this radius is 20. Okay, so the top and the bottom portions may look like straight lines, but they are both circles. If you're looking at the front portion, the front view, so the projection appears to be a trapezium. It's actually a frustum. Okay. And the height is 40 centimeters. All right, so this height is 40. While the top part is a hemisphere with radius 20, so kind of it's coinciding with the top part of the frustum. Moreover, the flat surface of the hemisphere is same as top surface of frustum. That's the whole point, as I've said. The top portion of the frustum and the base of the hemisphere are coinciding. Okay. If the entire trophy is to be gold plated at the cost of rupees 40 per square centimeters, what would the cost for gold plating be closest to? All right. So basically the cost of gold plating is 40 rupees per square centimeters. If I'm able to find out the total surface area of this trophy, then 40 into the total surface area is the required answer, right? So my entire target is to find out the total surface area of this trophy in centimeters square and we'll multiply that by 40 to get the answer. Okay. Now the total surface area of the hemisphere is pretty easy. It is nothing but the curved surface area exposed, right? The radius being 20, the curved surface area of hemisphere will be 2 pi r square. I'm taking pi as 22 by 7. So 2 pi 20 square is the surface area of the hemisphere, right? Alright, so let's construct the entire cone here and then we can use similarity of triangles to find out the curved surface area of the frustum, right? So this is 20, this is 30, right? If I look at triangle ABC and triangle ADE, triangle ABC and triangle ADE are both similar by the AA test of similarity, right? ADE and ABC are both 90 and A is the common angle. So I can say AD upon AB will be equal to DE upon BC. So from here I get the ratio of AD and AB. AD upon AB is equal to DE is 20 and BC is 30. 20 upon 30 is 2 by 3. So I can call AD as 2x and AB as 3x. Their difference is basically x and that difference is nothing but dB has been given to us as 40. So if x is 40, then I can say AD is basically 2x, that is 80, and AB is basically equal to 3 into 40, that's 120. Okay. Now the exposed part of this frustum is basically the curved surface area of the bigger cone minus the curved surface area of the smaller cone, right? So for both the cones, we first find the slant height. because that's what we need for the curved surface areas. For the smaller cone, the slant height is AE. I'll write AE here. By the Pythagoras theorem, AE is square root of 20 square plus 80 square. So that will be 400 plus 6400 or 20 root 17. Same way, for the bigger cone, the slant height is AC, which is square root of 30 square plus 120 square, which is 900 plus 14400, which will be 30 times root 17. So now the required area of the frustum exposed is the curved surface area of the big cone. Curved surface area is pi RL, 22 upon 7 into R is 30 into L is 30 root 17, minus the curved surface area of the smaller cone is 22 upon 7 into 20 root 17. Okay, we can just take 22 upon root 17 common. It will be 30 square minus 20 square. So this area becomes 22 upon 7 into root 17 into 500. That's it. We can now solve for both the areas. For the frustum, the area can be calculated. Let's approximate root 17 as 4.1 or 4.2 for that matter, because it will help in the calculations. 7 into 0.6. So 22 into 0.6 into 500 will be 500 into 0.6. 6 into 50, 300. 300 into 22 is 6600. Same way for the hemisphere, we have already found the area. 2 into 22 upon 7 into 20 square. That will be 2 into 22 upon 7 into 400, or you can take pi here is approximately 3.14. Just to ease our calculations, the options are far off, so we can easily approximate, right? So 2 into 3.14 is 6.28 into 400 is 628 times 4. So this is 2512 approximately, right? The total area is 2512 and 6600, and adding this you get 9112 approximately. Now 9112 into 40 is expected to be our answer. So it's roughly 372. Roughly 372. But there's a small problem. The problem is we have missed out the base of the frustum. The base of the frustum is also visible, right? So to this 9112, the area 9112, we have to add the area, the base area of the frustum, pi r square. So 3.14 into 30 square is 900, or 900 into 3, this is approximately 2700, plus 9112 is what, roughly 11,000 something, 11,600 something. You can safely take it as 12,000. 12,000 into 40 is your required answer, 4,80,000. It is closest to option E, 473. Okay, you can just approximate and get the answer, 473. Okay, so the catch here is don't forget the base of the frustum, guys. If you do it, you'll land up with the wrong option, A or B. The correct answer is option E, 4,73,000. Okay, good question. Slightly lengthy, but very, very conceptual. The answer is option E. Alright guys, please solve this next question and you can resume for the solution. Alright, for how many distinct real values of x does the equation below hold true? Consider a greater than 0. A is positive. Now, the first step is keep x square as it is. We will write log of 16 to the base a as log of 2 raised to 4 to the base a. And we know a property here, log of 2 raised to 4 to the base a can be written as 4 times log of 2 to the base a, right? Similarly, the denominator is log of 32 to the base a. We can write it as log of 2 raised to 5 to the base a, or it becomes 5 times log of 2 to the base a, right? Minus log of 64 to the base a can be written as 2 raised to 6 to the base a. This 6 will take it outside. It becomes 6 log 2 to the base a, and in the denominator you have log of 32 to the base a, which you already know is 5 times log of 2 to the base a. Minus x, this entire thing is equal to 0. Since a is positive, guys, log of 2 to the base a is also positive. Two positive quantities, we can always cancel them. So log of 2 to the base a gets cancelled throughout, above and below basically. We'll end up with 4x square upon 5 minus 6 by 5 minus x is equal to 0. I can multiply throughout by 5 and get 4x square minus 6 minus 5x is 0 which is a quadratic equation. 4x square minus 5x minus 6 is 0. Okay, the question is, for how many distinct values of x will the equation hold true? Well, for any quadratic equation, the number of values of x depends on the discriminant b square minus 4ac. So for this quadratic, let's find out the b square minus 4ac value. A is the coefficient of x square, which is 1. B is the coefficient of x, which is minus 5. And c is the constant term, which is minus 6. So for this quadratic, we find the value of b square minus 4ac minus 5 square minus 4 into 4 into minus 6. Minus 5 square is what? 25. Minus 4 into 4 into minus 6. Minus and minus becomes plus finally. So 16 into 6 is what? 96. 25 and 96 is basically 121. So it's a perfect square. B square minus 4 is a perfect square. So the roots will be rational and distinct. Two rational and distinct roots. So thereby the answer is option D. How many values of x exist for this to hold true? The answer is there are two distinct real values. It's the D option. Alright guys, please solve this next question and you can resume for the solution. Alright guys, an industrial robot manufacturing company is tasked to design humanoid robots to be used in warehouses where the robots need to pick items from a stack of shelves. The height of the topmost shelf from the ground is 7 feet. So this is your ground level, suppose. And from this, the topmost point is at 7 feet. Okay, this is 7 feet. To operate, the robot has to move on a track running parallel to the stack of shelves. So this is a stack of shelves. The track has to be parallel to this. Suppose this is your track. Okay, going inside the page, parallel to the stack. Okay. And the track is fixed 1 foot away from the base of the stack of shelves. So the track is at a distance of 1 feet. This is 1 feet basically. Further, the robot cannot bend its arm by more than 60 degrees from the horizontal plane. So if the robot's arms are attached to its shoulder, what should be the minimum height of the robot from the ground to the shoulder for its arms to reach the topmost point? Okay, so this is the track on which the robot is moving. So suppose the robot is somewhere over here, this much long. Okay, and suppose the arms of the robot are like this, touching the topmost point here. Okay, the question says this angle from the horizontal, this angle can't exceed 60 degrees. So let's take the angle as 60 degrees only. So the height of the robot is this h. The arm is located here on the shoulder, and this is the arm right now. In the horizontal position, the arm is like this. Now at the lifted position, the arm is here, A2. Okay. The question is, what is the value of h, the height of the robot? Okay. So a simple question, in fact, a very simple question, guys. Notice that we have A, B, C, D as a rectangle. Needless to say, these two are vertical, so parallel. And this is basically your ground level only. AB is a line parallel to the ground level. So ABCD is a rectangle. So technically what I want to find as h is also the length of AD in this case. Observe that ABE is also a right angle triangle. Angle A is 90 degrees, forms a linear pair with the interior angle of a rectangle. So triangle ABE may we can apply trigonometry, basic trigonometry. I can say that AE upon AB will be tan 60. Tan 60 is basically root 3. So AE upon AB being same as DC, DC is 1 feet. So AB will also be 1 feet. Rectangle opposite sides are equal. So AB will be 1 feet is equal to tan 60 is root 3. From here I get AE is nothing but root 3. Okay. If AE is root 3, guys, I want to find the length of AD. AD is DE minus AE. DE is given in the question as 7 minus AE we have figured out is root 3. The answer to my question is 7 minus root 3 feet. It is the D option. So very simple question. The only problem is to interpret the diagram. Okay, if you can interpret this happening, then the question is very, very easy. The answer is option D, 7 minus root 3 feet. Alright guys, please try this next one and you can resume for the solution. Okay guys, so ABCD is a rectangle with the coordinates of C and D are -20 and 20 respectively. So if I draw the Cartesian coordinate system, the x-axis and the y-axis, -2, 0 is on the x-axis on the left here, -2, 0. This is your point C, and on the right hand side you have your point D having coordinates 2, 0. If the area of the rectangle is 24, which of the following is a possible equation representing the line AB? So we already know that CD is going to be one side of the rectangle. CD will have one side opposite to it. So AB can be here like this, parallel to the x-axis, and above. AB can also be parallel to the x-axis and below like this. So AB is basically a line parallel to the x-axis. Whenever we have a line parallel to the x-axis, guys, the equation is y is equal to constant. So the other side will have the equation y is equal to constant. That side is parallel to side CD. And if you notice carefully, the options say y is equal to 6. Y is equal to 6 has the y-intercept as 6 only. So if I construct a rectangle like this, the breadth will be 6 and the length will be 2 here and 2 here, 4. 6 into 4, the area indeed is 24. So the possible equation of the line AB is simply y is equal to 6. This is one question which can be solved in under 1 minute. So very easy. The answer is option D. Alright, please solve this next question and you can resume for the solution, guys. Okay, very beautiful question, but lengthy, pretty lengthy. Let's see how we deal with this. So, consider the quadratic equation f of x is ax square plus bx plus a having two irrational roots, with a and b being two positive integers such that a and b are less than or equal to 9. If all such permissible pairs a and b are equally likely, what is the probability that a plus b is greater than 9? Okay, very amazing question. So first of all, we have this quadratic equation ax square plus bx plus a. F of x is ax square plus bx plus a. You need the roots of this equation to be irrational. Now guys, when does a quadratic equation have irrational roots? Whenever the b square minus 4ac value is positive but a non-perfect square. So b square minus 4 into a into c here is worth a only. So b square minus 4ac is actually b square minus 4a square in this particular question. Okay, this you want to be positive, but you also want this to be a non-perfect square. Okay guys, now come to think of it, if b square minus 4a square is positive, then I can definitely say b square is greater than 4a square, right? So now I'll take cases. Okay, I'll take the first case when a is equal to 1. Since a and b are both positive integers less than or equal to 9, I can start by taking a is equal to 1. When I take a is equal to 1, guys, b square should be greater than 4. So I can't take b as 2 because in that case 2 square becomes equal to 4. I'll have to take b minimum as 3, right? So 3 square is greater than 4 for sure. So when I take a is 1, b is 3 acceptable. When I take b as 4, it's also fine. 16, b square 16. When I take b as 5, that's also okay. Same for b as 6, same for b as 7, same for b as 8, and same for b as 9, right? So when I take a is equal to 1, b gave me 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 values. Now the only thing we have to ensure is b square minus 4a square should not be a perfect square because you want this to be a non-perfect square, right? So put the values of b and a in this and ensure that b square minus 4a square comes out to be a non-perfect square. So when I put b as 3 and a as 1, 3 square minus 4 is a non-perfect square, perfectly fine. When I put b as 4 and a as 1, 16 minus 4 is also non-perfect square. Same for b is 5 and a is 1, 25 minus 4 is also non-perfect square. Same when b is 6 and a is 1, 36 minus 4 is 32, non-perfect square. Same for b is 7. 7 square minus 4 is 45, not a perfect square. Same way if I put b as 8, 8 square minus 4 is 60. So again non-perfect square. And lastly, if I put b as 9, 9 square 81 minus 4 is also a non-perfect square. So all these 7 values are acceptable. The next possibility is taking a is equal to 2. If I take a as 2, then b square should be greater than 4 into 2 square, meaning b square has to be greater than 16. Now in this case, I can't take b as 4 because 4 square is 16 will equal to 16. No, you want b square to be more than 16. So b has to be minimum 5, then 6, then 7, then 8, and then 9. Okay. So once again, we perform this check. We put a as 2 and we take values of b to ensure that b square minus 4a square is a non-perfect square. So when you put b as 5 and a as 2, b square minus 4a square is 25 minus 16 or 9. Whoa, this is a perfect square, right? So in this case, b also can't take the value of 5. When you take b as 6 and again a as 2, b square minus 4a square is 6 square minus 4 and 2 square. That is 36 minus 16 or 20, non-perfect square. Fair enough. Take b as 7 and again a as 2. 7 square minus 4 into 2 square is 49 minus 16, 33. Perfect square. And if you take b as 8, 8 square minus 16 is non-perfect square. And 9 square minus 16 is also non-perfect square. Absolutely fine. So we have 4 acceptable values in this case. Next, we take the third case, a being equal to 3. Okay. When a is equal to 3, you want b square to be greater than 4 into 3 square. Basically 4 into 9, 36. If b square should be more than 36, b can't be 6 for that matter, because 6 square will equal 36. So in that case, b can be 7 or 8 or 9. Okay, let's verify whether b square minus 4a square is a perfect square. So 4a square is 36, we know. B square, 7 square minus 36 is 13. Non-perfect square, absolutely fine. 8 square minus 36 is 64 minus 36, 28. Non-perfect square. And 9 square minus 36 is 81 minus 36, 45. Non-perfect square. Bingo. So we have 3 possible values in this case. Next, I take the fourth case, a is equal to 4. When a is equal to 4, guys, b square will be greater than 4 into 4 square. 4 into 4 square is 416, that is 64. You want b square to be more than 64. In that case, there is only one value b can take, and that is 9. Only 9 will satisfy this condition. 9 square is more than 64. Now let's verify in this case whether b square minus 4a square is a non-perfect square. So b square is 9 square minus 4a square is 16. 81 minus 64 is 27, non-perfect square, right? So yes, we have one value of b in this case. Now guys, I don't need to check subsequent values because subsequently, if you take a as 5, b square should be greater than 4 into 25, or b square will be greater than 100. Okay, since b is between 1 and 9, no value of b satisfies this condition. So all subsequent values of b are impossible. So when you're finding out the probability that a plus b is greater than 9, your sample space has to be these 7 values, or these 4, or these 3, or these 1. So 7 plus 4 plus 3 plus 1 is 15. So to get the probability, your sample space is 15 in the denominator. So it's either the C option or none of these. We'll check it out. And you want a plus b to be greater than 9. Okay. When I put a is equal to 1, a plus b should be greater than 9. So b can take only one value, which is 9. Even if you take 8, 1 plus 8 becomes equal to 9. No, we want a plus b to be more than 9. Right. Similarly, when I put a as 2, then b could be either 8 or 9. If I take b as 7, 7 plus 2 equals 9, not required. When I take a as 3, in that case, all 3 values are acceptable. And lastly, when I take a as 4, b equal to 9 is acceptable. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. 7 values are acceptable here. So the probability required is 7 by 15. It is the C option. See, there's a very close fight. They also have D in the option. So if you forget to ignore this value, the answer would have been 7 by 16. Very ruthless people they are. Okay, the answer is option C, 7 by 15. Hi, don't forget to check out my course for the quant section of the CAT exam, where I've explained all concepts, tips and tricks, shortcuts, and past year questions in great detail. Alright guys, that's your next one. Please pause the video and try it out, and you can resume for the solution. Okay guys, so a, b, c are all positive integers with 4a greater than b. then which of the following conditions is both necessary and sufficient for the below expression to be a positive integer? Amazing. So let's start. The first thing is write 3 raised to a as it is for time being into, I can write 21 as 3 into 7, right? The whole thing raised to 3a minus b, and into 49 raised to something. Let's write 49 as 7 square, the whole thing raised to 2b plus c. You're taking the cube root of the entire thing, so this entire thing should be raised to the power 1 by 3. Now let us first simplify the terms inside the bracket. 3 raised to a, right now keep it as it is, into, using the law of indices, 3 into 7 raised to 3a minus b is 3 raised to 3a minus b into 7 raised to 3a minus b into 7 square raised to 2b plus c is 7 raised to 4b plus 2c. The whole thing is being raised to the power 1 by 3. Okay. Now once again we use our law of indices, guys. 3 raised to a into 3 raised to a minus b. The powers get added. Eventually this becomes 3 raised to 4a minus b. Okay. Into 7 raised to something into 7 raised to something again. The powers will again get added. 7 raised to 3a minus b plus 4b plus 2c. This will be 3a minus b plus 4b is plus 3b and plus 2c, right? This entire thing is raised to the power 1 by 3. So finally, I can change this to 3 raised to 4a minus b raised to 1 by 3 into 7 raised to 3a plus 3b plus 2c raised to the power 1 by 3. This is 3 raised to 4a minus b into 1 by 3 or 4a minus b divided by 3 multiplied by 7 raised to this entire thing 3a plus 3b plus 2c divided by 3. So let's see, guys. You want this entire expression now to be an integer. So let's analyze the first part. The first part is 3 raised to something. 3 raised to 4a minus b divided by 3 should be an integer. Okay. Now guys, when will this happen? This will happen when 4a minus b is either 0 or a multiple of 3. But the question already says that 4a is more than b. That means 4a minus b can't be 0. The only possibility is 4a minus b should be a multiple of 3. Now guys, in this I can break 4a as 3a plus a and keep the minus b as it is. Notice that 3a is already a multiple of 3. So the entire expression becomes a multiple of 3 when a minus b is a multiple of 3. So a minus b must be definitely divisible by 3. Right? One conclusion we can draw from here is a minus b is definitely divisible by 3. Guys, same way, in the exact same way, if you look at 7 ka power, 7 raised to something, notice that this is 7 raised to 3a plus 3b plus 2c divided by 3. Now in this case, 3a plus 3b plus 2c could be 0, but since a, b, c are positive integers, that's not possible. So only possibility is 3a plus 3b plus 2c should be a multiple of 3, should be divisible by 3. In this, 3a and 3b are already multiples of 3. So if c becomes a multiple of 3, this entire thing will also be a multiple of 3. So c should be divisible by 3. C should be divisible by 3 and a minus b must be divisible by 3. Both these conditions are present in the D option and the D option is your answer. Okay, beautiful question combining indices and numbers, and that's how we do it. The answer is option D. Alright, another beautiful question which is algebra in the guise of geometry for that matter. There are 5 dustbins along a circular path at different places. Okay, so it's a circular path, means a circle. Okay, Ramesh takes multiple rounds of the path every morning, always at the same speed. Okay, so 5 dustbins, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 randomly put. Okay, he noticed that it took him a different number of steps to walk between any 2 consecutive dustbins. Further, Ramesh also noticed that starting from any of the dustbins, it took a minimum of 800 steps to reach every second dustbin and a maximum 1260 steps to reach every third dustbin. If Ramesh's step size is 0.77 meters and the width of the path is negligible, which of the following can be the radius of the circular path? Alright, so let's call the distances between these 5 dustbins as A, B, C, D and E, right? And we know that they're all distinct. Now, when Ramesh is reaching every second dustbin, that means if he starts from this, he will reach the second dustbin by covering distance of A and B. So total distance he will cover is A plus B. Similarly, if he starts from this dustbin and he wants to reach the second dustbin, he will cover a distance of B plus C, right? Similarly, if he starts from this dustbin and he wants to reach this one, he will cover distance of C plus D. If he starts from this dustbin and wants to reach this one, it will cover distance of D plus E. And similarly, if he starts from this and wants to reach this dustbin, he will basically cover E plus E. In all these cases, he has taken minimum 800 steps. In every case, he has taken a minimum of 800 steps. So 800 steps means A plus B is greater than or equal to 800 steps. Same for B plus C, same for C plus D, same for D plus E, and same for E plus A. Now let's add all these. When I add all these, I will have A twice. Okay, I will also have B twice, then C twice, then D twice and E twice. Basically twice of A plus B plus C plus D plus E should be greater than or equal to 8 will be added 5 times or 4000. 4000 steps. Dividing by 2 on both sides, I get A plus B plus C plus D plus E is greater than or equal to 2000 steps. And similarly, if he wants to reach every third dustbin, the distances covered will be A plus B plus C, or B plus C plus D, or C plus D plus E, or D plus E plus A, or E plus A plus B. Each of these is at max 1260 steps. So all these are less than equal to 1260 each. Okay. And likewise, let's add all these 5 expressions. A will come 1, 2, 3 thrice. So does B. B comes thrice. So does C. So does D. And so does E. So I'll have thrice of A plus B plus C plus D plus E is less than or equal to 1260 multiplied by 5 will be 6300. Okay, dividing by 3 on both sides, I will get this as A plus B plus C plus D plus E is less than equal to 2100. Okay, now we have got A plus B plus C plus D plus E in between 2000 and 2100. These are the number of steps that Ramesh takes. Okay, but the length of each step of Ramesh is 0.77. So let's multiply both these numbers by 0.77 and we will get a range of possible values for A plus B plus C plus D plus E. If you notice, A plus B plus C plus D is your entire track length. So 2000 into 0.77 is 1540 and 2100 times 77 is 77 times 21. This is 1617. Right, so we have got the range for the circumference of this circle as 1540 to 1617. Now circumference of a circle is always 2 pi r. So I divide both these numbers by 2 pi to get the range for the radius of the circle. Let's take pi as 22 by 7. So 1540 divided by 22 into 7 divided by 2 will be 245. Right, so this value divided by 2 pi is basically 245. Same way, I'll divide 1617 with pi, that is 22 by 7, and this will become 257.25. I'll get the maximum possible radius of the track as 257.5 and the minimum possible radius is 245. Now the question says which of the following can be the radius of the circle? Well, the radius should lie between 245 and 257.25. There's only one option, the C option, that satisfies the given condition, and that's the answer to your question, option C. Okay, so let's see a slightly better way to answer the question, guys. It took him minimum 800 steps to reach every second dustbin. So if I call dustbins D1, D2 and D3 as such, between any three consecutive dustbins, the total distance he is traveling is minimum 800 steps. So what is the average distance between any two particular dustbins? 800 divided by 2 or 400 steps. This is the average distance he has covered between any two dustbins. Now D1 to D5 there are 5 such distances possible. So the total distance will be 400 into 5, 2000 steps. So the minimum distance he has traveled across the entire track is 2000 steps. Same way, the total distance he has covered to travel to any third dustbin is maximum 1260 steps. So what is the average distance between any two successive dustbins? 1260 divided by 3 or 420. That means the total track is 420 into 5, 2100 steps. So what we arrived at using a lot of calculations can be arrived instantly using the concept of averages, right? Find out the average distance between any two particular dustbins and then into 5 is the total number of steps. This should be the minimum and maximum. And then the same thing we do into 0.77 gives you the entire track length, the circumference. Dividing by 2 pi gives you the range. As seen previously, the answer will be option C. Alright, so this is a slightly better way out, a faster way in fact to get the answer, option C.